Reese Instant, and so much more. It's just talking sports with two guys, and I love doing this, and I'm probably going to do it some more. And also, the best part for me was getting to find out some of Eric's background and how he became to where he is. We'll talk more about that. Talking sports with Bob Alvis. Eric Johnson, the guest on the Sports Buffet podcast. First timer on the Sports Buffet. It's Eric Johnson from News Channel 10 in Roanoke, and a lot to discuss in the world of sports right now. But first, let's talk about what's going on with you and how you're doing, and why people should watch you on News Channel 10.
Oh, man. First of all, thanks for having me. Appreciate it, and appreciate your dedication to local sports, especially in our area. Why should you watch me? Well, I'm gonna bring the excitement. I'm gonna try to. If you like looking at bow ties, I got that too. So a couple of external reasons too, but no, I just have a love and a passion for sports in general, man. And everyone I talk to, they say, man, we can tell you really exude it. True authenticity. We're not gonna push the buttons too much, but we'll push them when needed. And just love having fun. Just love having fun and talking sports, and especially here on the local level as well.
Yeah, super snazzy dresser with the bow ties. And you know what? One thing I like too is you're a local guy. You've got local roots.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is home. This is home. I tell people I'm from right up the street, literally here in Roanoke. So did that, and of course William Fleming Colonels, go Colonels. So I love it. I love it here.
All right, before we get into some college talk, is it hard covering high school sometimes, especially when the feature is maybe a William Fleming or, in their case, maybe if you have to say something nice about Patrick Henry?
It's initially it was, but now I'm kind of like, okay, I can make this a Roanoke City deal, and we love on each other. We got love for each other. But no, I remember when I first started, I was like, all right, cool. I'm doing everything William Fleming. I'm doing Fleming basketball. I'm doing Fleming football. Hey, lacrosse is not quite there, but we're going to get there, So initially, it took me a while to realize, hey, there is greatness happening all around this valley, including in the Lynchburg area there, heading over to JF and heading over to Glass and all those schools. So eventually when you start growing and you're realizing, like, hey, get out of this little bubble, there's greatness everywhere. It really grows on you, and you come to love it. And, really the relationships that you start building with the kids and the coaches, it's huge. It's huge, and I love it. But also, I still love the fact, when I go home, so to speak, it's love for me still. They're like, yeah, and a lot of the administration is still there, and they see me from, little dude walking the halls to where I'm at now. So it's all love, and I appreciate it.
Was it hard to separate, though, from fan to covering? Because I am a graduate of JF, but I'm also 43. So, the more years I got away, hey, they gave me a diploma, which was great. But I kind of know everybody now, which is, I kind of pull for everybody type of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is now, and pulling away from it wasn't too hard because I was also in high school. I was kind of that nerd already toting my camera around. The only difference was I could root for the school, obviously, but I was already kind of setting that precedence of like, hey, let's start forming this kind of neutral base now, and let's not look at the corner of our eye at Patrick Henry, because as much love as I have for Fleming and as much love as they have for me, it's the same at Patrick Henry now. So it's great. It's great. The administration and staff there, and coaches, they're awesome.
Let's talk about college sports now, and we'll start with the Virginia Tech Hokies. If you're a Virginia Tech Hokie women's basketball fan, are you more optimistic for the future or more worried about, hey, can we do this again?
I think there's definitely still some optimism for the future. When you bring back a Liz Kitley, in terms of what she can do and what she has been the past 2 years, back-to-back ACC Player of the Year. You bring back her best friend, Kayla King, who went to school with her, and then you have her other best friend on the other side in Georgia Amore. So you got three of your five returning starters. I think there's definitely still some optimism there, coupled with the fact of some of the new folks that they'll be bringing in, some of the freshmen they'll be bringing in, and those that are already there that didn't get playing time, that'll still continue to grow and develop. So I think the future's definitely still bright for Coach Brooks and the Hokies and that entire program.
Yeah, one thing, I think I read it somewhere. I can't remember if it was from Appy's article or somebody, but they said Kitley needed to develop a back-to-the-basket game, is what Rebecca Lobo had said. And, I look at it even on the men's side. Do you think we have gotten away from post players and everybody's going to be, quote-unquote, a Euro to where they have to shoot threes, they have to be able to handle, or can people kind of be that back-to-the-basket person?
Yeah, I think it really takes somebody that can be versatile. In terms of that player that's only back to the basket, I think we're definitely away from that, unfortunately. But I think that's kind of what the game calls for, the speed of which, teams play and girls getting up and down the court, and even on the men's side. I think you really got to have a person that's kind of that versatile. They can step out, but they can also go inside. So I think if she can find a happy balance in terms of being able to do both, I think she'll be great. And I feel like that's the last puzzle piece, so to speak, to her development and to who she can truly be, especially if she's talking about taking it to the next level. I know early on in the season, it was kind of rough. It was like, hey, she's still kind of getting pushed around and she's got to get used to this physicality deal. I think by the time the tournament came, that part of her game improved. But in terms of taking it back, and putting her back to the basket, I think there's still some room for improvement there for sure.
Yeah, I'll pop over to men's real quick, and then we'll head back to women's. But, I think when I look at the evolution of the post player, I think the days of your Shaquille O'Neal back to the basket, because let's be honest, Shaq wasn't going out to the three-point line. Shaq wasn't going to cross you over. But a guy like Hakeem Olajuwon or Patrick Ewing could pop out a little bit. But I think those days of, strict back to the basket guys, I think they're gone. Right.
I would totally agree. And, I think about, a guy like an Anthony Davis for the Lakers. And it's, that's kind of what he was. He started as, and that's kind of what we almost only saw 7-footers as at one point is, hey, you dish the ball to them, they turn around, they got a hook shot, or they're going to, use the feet and they're going to get straight to the glass. Now, stepping out and getting that little 20-foot jumper, or some of them, like you said, taking threes, you immediately think, wow, that's dangerous because they got both. But now the dangerous part is, hey, maybe they don't have both. Maybe you only got one.
Yeah.
So
and,
that's good.
And
that's
I think,
the risk there.
Yeah, and I think you hit on it. I think, too, some of those guys that are coming into the portal, if you're a college coach and you see, hey, we got a 6'10", 6'11", 7-footer coming into the portal, well, I hope he can post, but he has to learn how to shoot outside, too.
Right. And not to mention the defensive end, because I think so much emphasis has been put on what can you do with the rock? Can you shoot it? Can you score it? How are you going to score it? That we forget about, hey, can it be a defensive presence? And not only just stand there, but can they actually affect change at that end of the court rather than just stand there and say, hey, all right, I got the paint. Y'all get everything else. So it's really interesting time to watch, the transformation of basketball in general these days, for sure.
It's weird. I feel like 4s and 5s have to be able to guard 2s and 3s now.
Yeah, you're right. Regardless of the size too, and that's so scary.
Right. And see, when I was growing up, travel ball AAU was not a thing like it is now. But now, if you're not playing, almost year round, even when you almost got to start when you're young, like 10, because if you don't, you're well behind the 8 ball.
Right. I remember, for me, it was rec league ball. And rec league ball was huge for me, and I was like, wow, this is great. And I thought I was seeing at least some of the talent from around the city and such. I can't imagine playing AAU, especially at this level, especially at the talents, all the different talent levels that are out there. And it truly has made it, a 365 type sport. Like you mentioned, you're all year round. You're trying to continue to grow and get better. And you want to see guys not only from your city, not only from your state, but they're trying to face guys across the country. So, you got the Bronnies of the world you want to see and everyone else. So it has really taken off, and it's really changed things for sure.
Back to women's now. Iowa LSU with the Clark and Reese thing. Was that a big deal in your eyes?
It wasn't initially, because I immediately thought, and I kind of had the same feelings a lot of people I talked to had. All right, at what point are we going to pivot from it? Like it was, because again, being sports folks and working in sports and around sports and enjoying it as a fan, we see this all the time. Like I think I mentioned, hey, we see the Damian Lillard, pointing at his wrist, Dame time. We know what that means, and we've seen it happen. And so I was like, okay, this will fizzle out, give it some time. But then I realized, okay, maybe this truly is in a way unprecedented in terms of seeing this in the women's game. And I love the fact that they have so many eyes on that game for that championship. That was amazing. The ratings and nearly 10 million folks tuning into that was amazing. More than anything, that's what I appreciated, was just the attention they were getting, for the game itself. But it spilled over a bit, and as I mentioned to you, hey, there's a difference, right? There's a line in terms of celebrating, and then when you get to taunting, it's a whole nother level. I think that's taking it a bit far, taunting, but in terms of showing love and passion for the game, I love that aspect of it for sure.
Yeah, and, I understand that, the world of media has to talk about it because, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, the social media world now is 24/7. We always got to have something to talk about. And, right. We can't praise people in terms of, wow, did you see that chest pass? Or, that bounce pass was really good. We got to get to a hot button issue. So I think it was all right at first, but then I think people tried to put legs underneath of it that were not there. Right, including the First Lady.
Right. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, where are we taking this now? Where are we going? Where are we going with this one here?
Because I can't see how you invite two teams. I mean, with all due respect, Iowa lost. I mean, why did they get invited?
Right, absolutely. I think truly that takes away, if we're doing that takes away the prestige of that whole honor,
Yep.
in which, and we know in recent years, because of perhaps who's been in the White House and that sort of thing, we know that prestige has already been kind of knocked down just a little bit. Some people saying, hey, we're not going to go, or half the team goes, or just a couple of the folks from the team goes. So for that to come out, and then for her to go back and kind of try to clean that up and correct it, I think it took on a different light in terms of, okay, why are you doing this? Who are we trying to honor? Why can't there truly just be the champion that's being honored? And I love the fact that even as recent as today, Reese came out and said, hey, you know what? Okay, yeah, we're gonna accept the invitation to go, and actually I'll be with the team as well. So, and even she admitted, hey, emotions get the best of us when you're starting to react, So, and she understood how special that was, and I think that's why she initially said, hey, what's up with that?
Yep.
What a joke,
Yep. It's funny. I think athletics can bring out the best in people, but I think it can bring out the worst at the same time. In terms of, not that this, and I'm not saying this was a worst case area, but I mean, people making something out of it to where it's not there.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, that's kind of my thing about it because, I hate to be corny, but, I've watched the movie The Replacements, an old football movie with Keanu Reeves, and there's a point where he says to a black guy and a white guy, can we all just get along? And that's like a laugh moment. But I think, it's weird. Let's just play basketball and, hey, give LSU credit because Kim Mulkey has now won, I think, 4th in the women's game behind Gino, Pat Summitt.
Yeah.
And I think she's right there with Tara Vanderveer for most women's titles. So
she is. And yeah, what an honor for her. And that's the other emotion of the game that I loved that we saw was her breaking down with, and I believe there was still 2-3 minutes on the clock.
Yep.
And she's starting to see subs, and I mean it's hitting her then, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible to see her coming to that emotion so early, before the last buzzer even went off.
Do you love the portal? The transfer portal?
Oh, the transfer portal.
And we're just talking universally now, not just women's, but the whole transfer portal.
Right. I do enjoy it because I love the freedom, so to speak, and I use that with quotes, that it gives some of these athletes. What I don't like is sometimes the leverage it gives the athletes. And I guess we have the whole argument, hey, maybe they do deserve the leverage because of, the money situation, and now we have NIL and all of that. But I think sometimes it's abused from the players and coaches, rightly so, but overall, I like the transfer portal. I like the fact that teams can get better immediately. And you don't necessarily, if someone's already developed, then they can come in ready to contribute immediately. So you don't have to spend so much time of, hey, let's get the basics of this for a year. All right, let's get our sets down second year, and then your junior, senior year, you're ready to thrive, and then we're ready to win. So that aspect of it is great. I think immediately, of course, I think of Virginia Tech and the women's team and how they've been able to use that to their advantage, while also having some homegrown talent. So
yep.
Some girls that Kenny's brought up, and it really truly is just about the mixture. And I think if you don't make promises you can't keep to girls or to men coming into your program, then I think it works out best. I mean, everybody that Coach Brooks talks about, he said, hey, they knew their role coming in. They wanted to just blend it. They didn't want to be the face or the person. So in that regard, I like it. I appreciate it, and it's brought a little fun to the game, different angle of recruiting for sure.
I'll ask you this question, and I'll answer too because I have an answer. What keeps people in college longer, the transfer portal or NIL?
Oh boy, I'd say probably NIL.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
NIL for sure, especially if they got a good one and they got something good cooking there, and you know, and I've talked to some student athletes, and it's like, hey, you telling me to show up at a place on a Wednesday to speak, and that's my NIL? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, and they're not thinking of it like this is easy, but they're thinking of it as it's not as labor as intensive, especially when I'm in during the season, or you know. And I'm like, that's a very good point. And hey, they can use that to you know, actually make money, because if they're on scholarship, then there you go. I mean, you're taken care of financially there. So I think NIL definitely is keeping college folks around.
I look at it this way: if you and I'm going to pick on basketball in particular, but if you were a fringe pick, those second round contracts are not guaranteed. You could make more money if you stay in the NIL and go back to college than you can if you were a quote iffy pick.
Absolutely. So, the chance that you're taking leaving, the risk factor there, huge. Yep. You know, especially if you got even a sport that doesn't, you know, pay as much or takes a while to get something fully guaranteed. So it really is a great opportunity. I'm glad they finally came to it. And hopefully, you know, if there needs to be, you know, more restrictions around it in terms of coaches having options and such, kind of like with transfer portal, that they'll
sure.
knock this out and talk to folks about that too.
Yeah, we'll have you back on to get into a big how can we fix the NIL, because I definitely think it's got room for improvement, because the last thing I want to see is college sports become professional sports to where it's a free-for-all. And it feels like it could drift that way with the NIL if it's not fixed. But final question for you, Eric. Definitely appreciate the time. And this is the one I didn't tell you I was going to ask you, so it's a curveball. Best thing and worst thing that you like and don't like about sports. It can be any level.
Oh, wow. Best thing and the worst thing.
And it can be covering. It can be as a fan. I don't care. Whatever you want to pick.
I was just thinking, is there a worst thing? Well, I tell you this. The best thing, obviously, is, as we talked about, seeing the emotion that it evokes out of people. You know, we had someone in terms of the post the other day in interacting. He admitted, he was like, hey, you know, I never watched girls college basketball in my life, men for that matter either, until I saw the women's championship. And I was like, I appreciate that transparency, because even it was a topic off the court that brought you to want to talk more about the sport that you watched for the first time. Like that is truly amazing. So seeing the emotion that it evokes out of people, and then the camaraderie it can bring, I think that's the best thing about it. The worst thing about it, oh man, I don't think I have anything for that one. The worst thing about the sport.
It's funny. I think I could use your best, and I don't want you to do this, but I think you could use your best answer as your worst answer too.
As the worst answer, right? People
can become, you know, like, I love arguing, but I love arguing civilly with people. And to me, fandom, you know, I think the worst thing about sports is everybody can feel like they're part of the game now, because even down to the high school level, I'm shocked that you guys haven't reported on a story where ex-official, you know, got attacked at a game. Because really, if somebody wants to get a piece of an official, for example, or a coach, either one, and they've done it at rec sports, I'm shocked they haven't done it at high school sports. So I think the worst part for me would be everybody feels like they're part of the game, even if they're not.
Right. Everyone's an analyst.
Right. Well, not just an analyst, but a participant, because if I don't like the call the official made against my son, I'm going to get him.
Yeah.
And, you know, that would be my worst thing. My best thing would just be seeing, you know, I think teamwork, team atmosphere can bring a lot of people together. And even when you're playing an individual sport, you know, you're still part of a team somehow, some way.
Absolutely.
I think that might be my best thing. But yeah, we'll work on that. So, and I really am glad that, you know, more people, that we don't see these stories about people getting attacked, that, you know, because that worries me. That worries me a lot.
Yeah, especially on the local level, you know, as you mentioned, we've seen some of the viral videos from, you know, across the country, and fans just jumping out the crowd, getting, like, attacking the ref during the game. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's that in turn teaching the kids? So it's as you mentioned, it's a fine line there, and they're brave. I'll tell you what, those referees and officials today, they got to be brave.
Because guess what? They ain't getting rich.
That's right.
But, you know, I'll tell you one more thing. I think it could be my worst is specialization athletes at this point, because I think it was great in school when people could play 2 and 3 sports, even if they weren't at a, you know, like a 1A school or a 2A school. And now I think people get into specializing at such a young age, and, you know, who knows? I mean, we could be, I remember people would always tell me Allen Iverson was a better football player than he was a basketball player. And that basketball thing turned out pretty good for him.
Right. Absolutely.
So, well, Eric, definitely appreciate your time. Hope to get you back on again, and keep up the good work in the Roanoke Valley and beyond.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, and like I said, we appreciate you doing your thing at the local level, especially for all the high schools around here as well, man.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon. That's Eric Johnson on the Sports Buffet podcast.